Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Daniel Umstead, host of the RNG Radio Show. I got another amazing guest right here on the RNG Radio Show. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. And even though we can't hear you, still put your hands together for my one and only good friend, Ches, to the RNG Radio Show. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, listen, I'm honored that you took the time out of your busy schedule to come on the show. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. So, Ches, I got you on the show. We got some time to chat. Talk to me. What is it that you do, and why do folks need to get in contact with you right now in regards to doing so?
Yeah, I mean, right now I run my own digital global company. It focuses on transformation coaching on one end. On the other hand, I focus on social impact consulting, and basically I work with entrepreneurs and world organizations, and I help them hone in on, their value proposition through copywriting, thought leadership, and storytelling. So that's what I do. And then my superpower and my magic would be and how I make it very anti-oppressive and decolonial and make that an asset for their team. So looking at how being socially transformative in your work becomes a leverage for you both on the economic front as well as the social value of impact that you provide, and make basically the change that needs to happen in this world, a necessity for people and a much more well-rounded fashion. So that's a big part of what I do on the consulting part, and then the transformation coaching one-on-one, working with individuals. And I focus a lot on the language element of people like me that are part of different cultures, and they want to reclaim their language and learn, basically understand where do they belong, who they are, and making that a very transformative process for them to be empowered and then go back to their lives and having a bigger way of manifesting the totality of who they are empoweringly in all the different facets of their lives. So those would be the two things. And then to go back to your second point in terms of how does that extend value beyond my work into the work or the lives of other people, it's basically looking at how do I get to be a much more impactful presence, and then assume a different quality of leadership as everything that I am in everything that I do. So how do I get to be the most powerful version of myself in the different rooms that I come in, and leverage that as an asset for me to get ahead in terms of, my own goals and aspirations as a human, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as an artist, as an activist, as anything and everything that I am. So that's where I come in, and I love to accelerate the power of their humans and then hear them out, hear their perspectives, and then relinquish this back to them, but a micro action plan so that they have a clear way forward, but from a place of being autonomous, and for me to make myself as quickly obsolete as possible, because I want to be an accelerator, not a crutch, and then to find ways that we get to be mutually honoring and mutually empowering to one another. So that's what I'm here to do. That's my vision, and that's what I'm privileged to get to do every day. Yeah.
Awesome. So you just pretty much told me you're a superhero. I got you. Okay. I because I'm here and I'm like, Wonder Woman definitely did that. Okay, that's a few talents from the Flash. Spider-Man probably couldn't do that, but she's doing that. Okay. So with that, because all superheroes do have an origin story, what is the reason that actually got you into this? Why did you start doing all of this?
Yeah, I would say the part and parcel of it was, born in where I am here in Canada, as on unceded Indigenous territories. My parents, they're immigrants, political refugees from Haiti. I lived in multicultural worlds, Haiti at home, having also a family for Dominican Republic, being part of Canada, being part of a multicultural network, and always being denied on some level as not being enough, fill in the blanks, not Black enough, not this enough, not yada yada. And it's just something that transmuted in any space that I was in. And that was a big part of how I started having an understanding that some people, to feel affirmed, they have to deny first and foremost. And then understanding what is the power of being able to basically live in different spaces and then having to become your own person because of it, right? So that was a big part of my story. And then finding that I would have different positions, and I was never satiated with the work. I felt like it was a missing piece of what I was doing. So on a tactical level, getting investment in the job, in the positions, but also feeling that there's something that's missing. And for me, the part I was missing is I didn't like the idea, the knowledge, the notion that I had to compartmentalize parts of myself for me to be seen as valid. So when I get into the job, for me to be professional, I don't have to be as Black, Or if I'm working in activism, I don't get to be entrepreneurial because we're looking at a nonprofit perspective. So for me, it's what is the reconciliation of the world that I get to have? So how do you get to make money and to be an activist? So it culminated into that paradigm. And on top of that is, how do I get to be me in a way that is fulfilling, affirming, and I don't have to speak different because I'm working, walking into an executive meeting, speaking different from the way that I would have had 2 seconds ago with a client call or something like that. So being consistently myself and not having to choose between the different parts of my identity, and to do work that matters for people who care, within the understanding that you get to be full and make money. I get to be self-full and also of service. So the last job that I had before COVID, basically, I started having a sense of what that would mean. That was one of my first coaching experiences that I had at the time that helped me put together my thoughts and starting, laying out a blueprint in terms of what would the life after the 9 to 5 would look like for me, and then transitioning more fully into that. With COVID, it accelerated the process because now a lot of the structure of what normalcy was for me, they couldn't exist anymore. And that allowed me then to have a lot of free space to play in, and then to fully commit to the vision of what that would mean. So it started with being denied and fighting affirmation within the spaces I was denied in, understanding that ultimately you become the thing that you needed in your life when you live your life on purpose. So everything I wish that I had growing up were all the things that I became for myself. And then coming to a place that I am not the only one. There are other people who share different stories, points of intersections with me that I also get to be a service for, knowing exactly where they come from, sharing the same kinds of legacies and lived experiences. And the idea is similar to you. How do we mobilize those energies and knowledges forward so that those people become empowered, and then they get to create the same ripple effect in their own lives and networks, so that we get to uplift each other as we go up. So it started like that, feeling, how come I'm the only one that sees this? How come I'm not the only one that sees that something is missing? When I would be in different rooms, then making a list of all what those different things were, and then having different kinds of possibility models of people who then gave me a container, a vessel to see that I don't have to choose. I don't have to sacrifice for the life that I deserve, that I'm called for. And then, just committing to quick, simple actions one day at a time, then coming to a place where now I have a clarified sense of what that vision is, and then just surrendering and committing to the process. And I see and it's not just, right? It's a lot of fear, a lot of doubts, but as they say, your doubts have doubts as well, so doubt them. And then just leaning more, than meeting people like yourself. And it's like the confirmation after the affirmation. So the doubts are still there, but then it's, when you're committed and you're surrendered, and then you're open, you meet people who have great resonance with you within the thing that is in your heart to do and to be. And then it gives you enough energy and power to keep on surging forward until the next momentum. So that's how I came from where I was to being here today with you.
Awesome. And I love what you just said. So and please correct me if I got it wrong. So you said your doubts are gonna have doubts. So you need to doubt them.
Exactly.
I love that. So it's like, hey, once you have some negative ball rolling, another one is gonna have it, but what you just need to do, chuck it out the window. So I love that. Now, I know that you're on social media. I know that you're everywhere. Can you let us know how folks can get in contact with you, where they can follow you at?
Exactly. Well, Instagram would be, the best opportunity for people to connect with me very quickly and get a big sense of the scope of the work that I have. That's where I post my updates and all of the great stuff. So they can find me there. It's just my name and with my initials. So Chesline PP, so CHESLINAPP. So that's where they can find me. Then also on my website. So it's chesline.com. And it's more of the same, but they will have access to all of my content, events, exclusives, and things like that. But yeah, I love Insta. It's very visually driven. So being an artist as well and a poet, I love to get to play with the visuals to reinforce like the depths of the message.
Awesome. Love that. Now, is there any major announcements that you have coming up that folks should be aware about or know about?
Yeah, definitely. I just launched my digital mastermind. So it came out of a summit that I was hosting a few weeks ago. Then I just finalized all the ideas so that people can enjoy it. And it's me basically having 2 weeks worth of interviews and talks with different world leaders in 9 different languages. And we look at what it means to do the work that I talk about, but being in different industries. So this is something I really adored. And I came out of this event having one idea of what the end product would be like and being completely transformed and feeling really healed, having lots of hope for the future and meeting incredible humans that I'm working with on different projects. So definitely the mastermind would be a big thing that I'm super excited about. That I'm just starting another masterclass series for people who are into it. So all the details on my Instagram and Facebook if they want to join in, and it's starting on September. So Monday, September 6th, and it's going to be every Monday, every Friday, EDT from noon, I believe, from noon to 1. So I just need to double check because we changed the time, but it's going to be in the ballpark of noon. Yeah, so masterclass series.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love that, love that. If I get an opportunity, definitely want to hop on that. Just got to get away from these 9-to-5 folks. 9-to-5 folks. So, but I want to hop back into the transformative coaching real quick, because a lot of people, I already can tell, there's doubts, there's other folks saying like, oh, this might not be for me. This still isn't for me. There's no way that I could transform. Shez, I got too much going on, so if you can you just briefly go over how it is easy to implement in one's life to be that better individual?
100%. And I'm just going to bounce back really quickly on one of the last things you said. Just thinking of a quote, if you don't have 20 minutes to meditate, it means you need 2 hours. So if I don't have 20 minutes in my life to dedicate back to myself, then I probably need 2 hours worth of time back to myself. And I feel in terms of the transformation coaching, it's also that when I look at my life, am I led by it or am I leading it? What time do I go back to myself in terms of my dreams and aspirations? Am I living by design or by pre-programming? Am I being conditioned? Am I being fully self-aware and present? So for me, it's basically looking at my dreams and how far away or close to them am I? And what different commitments can I leverage within what I already have ongoing to then make that the most inevitable part of my design? And it's to say that, to your point, there's so many different tactical ways that we can implement the life that we want. And it's all about having somebody who isn't committed to the stories of scarcity that we have to help us get to that closer. So to give you an example, when I was having my corporate position, there was an office that got owned by a different company. And they are this hub where they have different scientists and people do amazing work. And I would go there, pass their street every day to get to the office. But this was the first client basically that I had when I decided to do this. So it's to say that the path from my house to the workplace, I had the next opportunity for me right around the corner. But when we condition ourselves to be oblivious to that because we are more indebted to the rhythm of life that we have than the life that we desire, a lot of the things are invisibilized to us, not because they are not seeable, but because we make them so from our perspective. So to me, is look at your life today, and is that what the definition of freedom and completion looks like for you? If it isn't, then we get to have a conversation and basically look at ways that you can be smarter about the environment that you have and look at the network of untapped opportunities that you have. And then from that place, what are you going to do to activate them and make it so that there is a fluent coherence between your today and your tomorrow? So the notion of not having enough time is by the standard of what, right? So we need to question that. And if you cannot have 20 minutes to yourself, you're probably overcommitting to things that take away from you more than they give back to you. And it means that there are a lot of commitments that can be shed. There are things that can be redesigned, and learning to renegotiate where you apportion your energies and how, on whose timelines are you operating, and if truly the rhythm that you have is the one that you desire as well. Because if we're expected to have a 9-to-5 or whatever the setup is, and we never question that, then anything that we want that is not more of that looks like a problem to us. But the bigger question is, does it have to be this way? And when you remove all expectations from yourself and others, is that truly what you actually desire? So this is part also of the work, right? Too. And for me, thinking on a very pragmatic level is, I'm not telling you to throw everything out the window and to quit your job and to do those grants. It's not.
Jay said I could quit today. I don't need you. Chuck, you know I've been hating your behind. I'm gone, y'all. Gotta focus on me and my destiny. So no, go ahead.
No, it's exactly, because that's what people get, they get scared when you hear that. And it's like a very binary model. It's an either or proposition, or either you have everything or you forsake everything. And I'm not coming from that place. And there's a security when the alternative is always so extreme, because whatever you're doing becomes the only way for you to understand the future. So for me, it's not that. There's so many transitional points and moments that you get to implement that make it so you get to grow and mature. And then you have the emotional capacity to register what you can actually accomplish on a practical level, right? Because if your mind is already afraid of your potential to do and be more, then even when you have the skills to implement that, you're always going to be resisting it. And you're coming at it from, basically trying to run away from that future. So it matters that as you grow along, you need to mature emotionally, even more so than you do from a skills-based level, because or else whatever you'll be able to manifest, you're going to be also able to reject. And that's not going to be fruitful. So yeah, the long and short of it would be this. It's all about, are you truly content with the state of life that you have, understanding that your dreams don't have to be optional? And if the answer is no, then as I said, we get to have lots of fun and talk about that, what it would look like for you.
Wow. So we talked about this in the beginning, that you had superpowers. I just want to add on, Shez, that you give people their superpowers. So that's like a double superhero, because a lot of people do. They have the doubts, they have the negativity already running through their brains. I know people are probably listening right now and thinking to themselves like, oh, well, this must be for another individual. And it's like, no, are you happy right now? Are you waking up happy? Are you living the life that you're enjoying right now? If not, they need to get in contact with you. And if not, they need to hop on these mastermind calls with you. And if not, they need to contact you on Instagram at, what is your handle again?
Yes, Chesline PP, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, I really, really thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm hoping that folks do take that opportunity, even if they were just to go on your page and connect with you. I know, for me personally, I felt 10 times better just by us talking, because I'm like, am I happy? I'm not happy. I do need to get my goals back in order. And for me, this is my personal question, Shez. Yes, on the RNG radio show, Daniel does have his own questions. If somebody has a timeline, let's say, that they're trying to get to a goal and they got this 10X goal, the Grant Cardone goal is always 10X. I'm multiplying it by 10. If I'm trying to sell 10 houses by next year, I need to be selling 100 houses next year. So when it comes to that, when it comes to people's deadlines and trying to reach their goals, what advice do you give to them? For myself.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's a very great question. I feel the thing about timeline is not to forget like the emotional maturity element, because we can oftentimes overcommit to deliverables as a means to bypass the emotional maturity as well, right? So it's not so much about what do I want to have, is how do I want to feel having those things, or how I want to feel, period. And also, who do I want to be as a human? It's also a very necessary complementary considerations to have, because even when you land that reality, you won't be able to register it, and it can also feel like the absence of the thing. And I would also say that depending on what the goal is, like whatever industry we're looking at, if it's housing or what have you, is then to look up to basically creating around yourself an ecosystem of people who are already accomplishing those goals, so that they get to help you grow within the maturity of the practical elements you need to have to implement that dream. So for me, because I have, let's say, different aspirations that can have to do with my living circumstances, with clients I would like to have, or material things I would like to possess, those are different areas. So to be clear on the fact that the one person won't be the end all be all of all those things. So you can clarify to yourself what elements, and you can prioritize them, and then just go through it as a sequence, and understand that you can have a premature understanding of your own timeline. So once you are within that ecosystem, those people will help you refine the scope of, is it realistic, or is it desirable for me to wish that so soon? Because just because it can be done doesn't mean that it will serve you when it happens. So maybe the best way for you to mature that is, hey, I want those 10 houses, but instead of it happening in 1 month, maybe the best way for me to go about it is 3 months. And there are so many other things that get activated simultaneously as I get closer to that goal. So it's also the thing of too soon, too fast is not necessarily the way to go, because you want to have the capacity to receive the life that you want. So we tend to be forced by capitalistic forces to want a lot more, thinking that we will be more. But if I am as much as I am today and I just happen to have more, I'm just creating a discrepancy and honestly producing fullness. So there's the element of material wealth and also emotional, spiritual, energetic, existential abundance. And you need to have a blended sense of both for you to even feel the wealth that you're about to receive.
Wow. I took it all in. I don't know if my audience members are going to get it. I definitely got it. So, Ches, thank you so much. I probably got like 5 million other questions just for myself alone. But I know that with time, I definitely don't want to hold you, but I definitely will be in contact with you, especially for the information in regards to the mastermind call. So, Ches, thank you again so much for being on the show. Thank you for talking to me and my personal questions, because I needed help to get back to where I needed to be at. So thank you again so much for being on the RNG radio show.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for the space. Looking forward to having more conversations, and it's just an honor to be here. I love the energy.
Definitely, definitely. I'll be talking with you soon.
Perfect.